crash out. Oh shit. So patiently waiting, you know. Some movies require like a little bit of patience, and I'm currently changing the whole movie industry and music industry as I speak. Like, I still gotta go to court on the 1st, you know, still defending my constitutional rights in real life, you know. So a lot of things going on, and then, you know, you gotta you're training these young kids and shit, teaching them showing how to be a man and shit. It's just a lot of things on my plate, you know. Heavyweight, world on my shoulders type of stuff, you know. And what I plan to do, right, with the movie is some mind-boggling. You don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna let you anticipate and grow addicted to it, you know, with obsession, because it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be a hit, box office, blockbuster. You know, I'm ahead of my time. You know, I wrote a book, like, and that's not to book. Alright, so what I do with the words. So one is BOOK, and the other one is BUHK. You know, speaking of such, I was talking to you know, one of the celebrity downfalls that I had recently, and I said to him, it's only fair. But I meant fair, like FAIR/FARE. I noticed that I be speaking a lot like that, like I be having double meaning and both be correct and shit, like with the book. But yeah, you know, so I'm still waiting on that, you know. They all waiting for it too. They going crazy for it. I'm already making it like, so if there was like a GoFundMe page, right, that shit would have reached its mark by now. And it's only going up, you know, because the budget that I'm asking for, like to make my movie, is gonna be like, we're talking about Creed, we're talking about John Wick, we're talking about you know, so basically, like, you know, all those that made the $40 and up $1 million mark budget, you know, I'm trying to make it so that I can make a statement, going for something higher, you know, because if that was the budget for them, why not the same budget for mine, you know? And we're talking about starting initial fee, you know, things that I think it's gonna rain. Yeah, but we're talking about initial stuff, you know? things that my side shouldn't have to cover, like in no way regards fees and shit like that. You know, like my side doesn't cover that. You cover that. Everything else, you know, we make. You know, I make my Or we make our gains from the exchange, but you gotta cover the fees. So yeah, I was you know, and that's just because that's the artist in me. You know that I'm a poet. It's like I'm a real poet. Like not these even the ones that you think got talent, really not talented. You know, like they're nothing compared. Like my poetry becomes prophetic works that manifest in the moment, on the spot. Like it's way different from somebody just spitting poetry and just people being like, wow, that's beautiful, you know. Like, well, that touch turns to gold. You know, it's easier said than done, right? That's what you would say or something. But check out my book. It's on Amazon, or visit my website if you want to learn about my company, right? So, alright, let me just give you the name. It's called Lemneskazil. Lemneskazil. So, I guess people will pronounce it Lemneskazil. Lemneskazil. I don't know. I say Lemneskazil. Lemniscate. Lemneske. Now, what that word means, right? If you look it up in a dictionary, it's just a mathematical equation, right? A formulaic expression where two lines interject. So like a X, like a cross, or like the infinity symbol, which I attribute to to the word, and then zeal, as I said before, it's just another way of saying fervent, passionate. So thus you get infinite passion through Lemneskazil, which is symbolic for, as I've said, the infinite representation of the eight parallel, now maybe you didn't put a lot of thought into your company like I did with mine. That's no reason to reject mine, So I created it. It's my work, and I wanted to own the masters of my poetry in the action. Not just be like beautiful words said, and liked. I wanted my words to be felt, because it was also in the practice, not just sounding good, Anyway, check out my website, order the book, show support. It's a brand. It's a one-of-a-kind brand. Like, the thing is, a lot of artists had to go get help and support from a lot of team and big people, management professionals. Me, I learned all that shit by myself with time, and so they've never seen that, and so it's kind of rather unique, because I call the shots from its inception, and while others are trying to fawn to get to the top, I I just step on it. And let out the nuclear. So remember, Lemneskazil. That's the label, that's the production, that's the movie, that's the company, the LLC, the 8. It's like that. Do you see it? Do you have faith? Do you see it where no one else sees it? Do you see it? That's the infinite. Now, in between those, right? You put an L and a Z for the initial of Lemneskazil. You dig? You got? Yeah, now you know. Visit the website. Like I said, cop the book. Read. Know what's it about. Don't just judge by the cover. Like, really get in between the pages, Turn the pages and be like, oh, shit, like, damn, Maybe write a note. Your favorite quotes or what intrigued you, what part, what did you learn from it, which chapter you like, which sub-chapter you liked, which bullet points that I aroused, I brought up that you thought were good, and so on and so on. And then, yeah, if you get to that part, man, you might get ready for Lezera, which is another book. You'll graduate. But anyway, all this is basically changing the whole movie industry, as I speak, because there's being things that are written, crafted perfectly to serve the purpose that it needs to be served. And they never seen such writings, they never seen such manifestation that, they're still at all at the stuff, But it's really happening, and I'm really here, and such things and such terms gotta proceed in order for proper representation. Alright, until next time. Yeah, so I saw this video, right, with Al Pacino and how much he got for doing The Godfather when he first did The Godfather. He said in an interview he owed $15,000. Like when he first did Godfather, instead of getting paid, he owed $15,000. But suddenly after that, he started getting clothes, like houses and stuff like that, and he didn't know where it was coming from. He said one should pay attention to that, and right there lets me know that when creating your contract, right, you should go after these things that they overlooked. Because what Hollywood does is they keep your money in a vault, right? But meantime, they keep you broke and struggling, desperate, all the time. You have money in a vault that they don't give you access to until they abuse you, and everything gets done on their part. And this is how it's always been. And then suddenly, you got houses and money and then things like that. But it came from first using you as a slave, where they push you to struggle, and at some cases you end up even owing, like you don't make no money at all, So what I'm trying to do on this change, right, is basically unlocking the vote before the movie gets paid. Where when the movie gets done, I don't owe nobody, and I know how I got the house and the clothes. All of that has been in the agreement on the contract beforehand, like before the actual movie takes place and the acting has to happen. Because what Hollywood does is reverse that role, where, like I said, they lock it in a vault. They abuse you. You're struggling. You're broke, and you don't get no money. You're probably living on the street while you're making this hit, right? And once the movie is done, then they use that money. They don't give you the money. They use it to give you whatever it is that they think you need, like a house or a car or whatever, and maybe a little bit of cash. But they don't give you the whole vote that's supposed to be yours, And Hollywood's always been like that, and they think that you don't see. They think that people don't realize how their system or matrix works. And it's usually like that, they trick you like a pimp and prostitutes. And what I'm trying to do is be the pimp in this equation and having them as my trick, because I'm no one's trick, And maybe that's how it was done in the past, with all these legends and icons like Al Pacino and many other great rap actors. But there's a reckoning, this is a new age, and I want that vote before I start the role, not, before, during. There shouldn't be no struggle. There shouldn't be no struggle, or I owe, people. I'm in debt. I gotta get a side gig. I gotta have, I shouldn't be going through all that shit when the vote is right there and it's already for me, They're just politicking on when I should get the vote. And that's where I disagree with the whole system. I don't wanna wait for what's mine. It's mine. It's hard. It's hard. It's earned from blood, sweat, and tears. I'm like that commercial. It's my money, and I want it now. Which is why I think the bill should pass. Because the big beautiful bill, that Trump is pushing. Because it means that we don't pay taxes and a lot of other shit, but it's a bill that basically gives strength to people that like me who want the vote before having to make the movie, where they basically enslave you. And lots of times actors don't make it, because they resort to drugs and alcohol. through the process of making a movie, they try to break you, in a socialized manner, where since they see you don't got money, but you're making a movie, they make you go through a lot of shit where you end up being addicted, and some actors don't make it. If we go and study, you see a lot of actors died young, because that's the system that's rigged in California, how they rig it against the people. And so, me looking at that from the outside in, and listening to interviews like with Al Pacino saying things like he owed 15 grand when he first came out with The Godfather, and he didn't even know how the houses and the cars and the clothes were coming. That's something that I think should be accountable. Transparent, and the one who plays the role should oversee and have control over that. Like I want the vote. I don't want to have to do something before I get the vote. If that vote is meant for me, then I want it because it's mine, not because anything else. And then once you got the vote, right? You're talking from a position of strength, and they don't want that. They want you in a weakened condition, while they make you chase for that vote that belongs for you in the beginning. From the beginning. So, if you agree with my form of thinking, where I think the actor should get the vote before playing the role, then you would support my cause and realize that we don't pay fees. People gotta smarten up, man. We can't keep we can't keep letting the system abuse and destroy our exuberance, because that's what they do. They dim your light, and they make you age quicker than what's supposed to happen. All right, I'm out. I only saw a few people joined. Should be more of y'all, but I don't know. It's for who it needs to be heard. This is a masterclass for like actors and whoever want to learn stuff. Anyway, all right, that's that. What all that. And another thing, right? While we're on the subject, actually, this is another subject. We're talking about AI, right? And how people see people using AI. Now, AI is a tool to help you become better. Like a calculator, Instead of using your fingers, you use a calculator. The same thing like ChatGPT. You want to articulate better. You ask the right questions, and people are upset that this era or age period, people rely more on tools like that. But this doesn't take away from the artistry. Like, there's a company out there, right, that uses AI robotics, where they chisel stones, to do a lot of the heavy work, where it's like, if you want to draw a picture, right, you first have to, you get a pencil and a paper, and you start from scratch drawing the picture, right? But if you use a tool like a chat GPT, or AI robot, or whatever it is, it it'll trace it. It'll trace something that was already drawn, and it'll get you a template where you can start from a further down the line position, where you can find yourself doing work more quicker because you relied on these tools. Not that it takes away, like, you would do it regardless. It's just you're a lot more faster now because you're using these tools, and you can start from a more intricate layer than the beginning layer. And again, when you're training these things, right? Same thing with like producers with the softwares. You get it programmed to a point where now you got it automated where it makes you 50 beats per day without a lot of work, without a lot of things you used to do. It's easier on the person, on the producer, that now you got 50 to 100 beats that you didn't really have to do that much. It did it on its own. You just had to push a couple keys. And the same thing with the robotic arms, etching out these stones. It gets it to a point where, like, I leave it right there. Now I start my etching. It just clears all the rubble, the big rocks. And then you finish up the details where the artistry matters. And so people are like upset that some people use these tools to become better because they think it's not real talent. But the ones that have talent, if they use it, it's just to make them better. First of all, you have to train your ChatGPT to like, I got it to a point where I just if I ask a question, it'd be like a sentence long, and it already understands me. Like, I don't have to be like descriptive and into the details of the prompt. I don't have to write it like a paragraph long or a whole chapter long just so that it could understand my point of view. I narrowed it down where now it understands me, and all I gotta do is like do it. 2-letter word, and boom, they already I got it already set up where they know my kind of thinking, and it just drops all the information that I need, as opposed to somebody who doesn't know how to use it and starting for the first time. They gotta train it with a whole bunch of prompts and a whole bunch of questions and things that they gotta train it and to tailor to their desires, And when you trained an AI to help assist you, I don't think that's cheating. There's things that I would have done regardless of the AI, but assistance and help cost. And by me using this tool, I got rid of that equation where I don't have to hire somebody, or and things get done quicker. So it's all on how the user uses it. If you know how to use it, it'll benefit you who has the talent, and it doesn't take any talent away from you. If you don't know how to use it, you never had talent to begin with, and whatever you get from that tool is a handicap. Like, you can only be as talented because you're using that tool, while others do not need the tool and still remain talent, but use the tool, just to get things done quicker. My book, by the way, I did it. Like I said, I wrote it when I was 18. That's all me. That's not ChatGPT. That didn't even exist. When I wrote that book, and but Lesera, uh, I did help. I did use a little help. I used the tool, but like I said, I narrowed it down to be tailored to my lifestyle, my thoughts, my ideas, which made me do a pattern, and it made it manifest quicker because though I had the ideas and notes scribbled everywhere about the project, um, I never um structured it, organized it in a way that I was able to do quicker with the tool. So the tool only just organizes it and labels and categorizes it better, um, using formats and templates that should be used, to make your story more understandable and readable. But the information that the tool receives to make it happen is all entirely on the individual, the user who has the talent, and that's all me. Like, those are my ideas, those are my thoughts. The tool didn't come up with none of those things. All the tool did was structure it in a way where you can read it better and understand it. With dialogues, like you can you can visualize my ideas better with pictures and stuff. But the tool would never come up with that unless I fed it that information. So it's still mine. All it did was, like I said, serve as my assistant and write it down. But it's all mine. So, because there's people like trying to discredit people who use these tools for the betterment of their craftsmanship, and they don't realize that even the most talented people, the most professional and most gifted, are using tools that help them in their situation. And ChatGPT is just one of those. But like I said, they got robotic arms. They got just different types of AIs that branch in different fields that are being used to help elevate the user's talent. And all that is mine. That's all I'm saying. That even if I use ChatGPT, like I said, it's my story. These are my ideas. Those are my memories, that happened. All it's doing is it's wording it better. So that you could be like, okay, I see. It's just tracing. It's just tracing my memories. But it's all my memories. So anyway, I hope I answered on that. My memories. So anyway, I hope I answered on that because I'm not just someone playing a role. Like, I write roles, and before the tool existed, I was already writing movies. It's just now that the tool exists, I can make movies even easier, and books and whatever. And so maybe this threatens a lot of the gatekeepers because They don't want, competition. But some stories are more brighter, and if you're meant to be heard. So, that's not gonna stop me. And as a writer for the movie, who not only writes the script, but is also the director, the producer, the editor, the song composer, the lead actor, all of this, like, because I grew up, like I said, I had real big legends to look up to, like I said, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was not just a martial artist. He was a philosopher. He was an actor, a director. He would write the scripts. Like, this is not just someone who just goes into the movie industry to act on somebody's script that was made that they didn't even know. They don't even know their part. They read it on the day, and then they apply as an extra or something. I'm not chasing. I don't take pictures to play an extra or a role for something that somebody else wrote. No, these are roles that I wrote. Just like Bruce Lee, just like Sylvester Stallone. I learned from the greats. I'm not trying to come under somebody. I'm not trying to let somebody bring me up. I'm bringing people up, and people are under me because I am the Bruce Lee. I am the Sylvester. I am the one who created the script, and that's mine. That's my patent. Regardless if I use the tool or not, those are my ideas. Those are my memories. Those are my experiences, real life stories that I lived, and I'm the director, producer, and all of that. There's no where you can dictate your terms over something that I created. Where you can dictate your terms over something that I created. You could do that with these actors that are hungry, who want to come up and they want to play a role on somebody else's script. You can do that with them. You could keep the vault from them and starve them, make them go struggle, and give them money when they did everything that was required of them. But I'm not just coming up artist or actor who just wants to play a role for somebody else's script. I am the one who writes the script. I am the one who directs the actors, produces, edits, plays the song, chooses the scene, the location, and so on and so on. So this is why I feel that I should get the vote before, as opposed to these actors who are trying to come up and make a name for themselves and don't write and don't produce and don't direct. They just play a role. They're actors, And so, yeah, under that, whatever, they shouldn't get the vote just yet. But I'm not that, Like I said, I'm like a Bruce Lee or a Sly who creates the stories, the visions. And for that, I have to get mines up front. You dig? Just like that. That's that with all of that.